You know how we do what we do, it's either we go big and we go home, and today is no exception. We're going bigger and better. Seated next to me, Nelisa, PR extraordinaire, sebenza for South African youth, making sure that brands zabo are out there, established and known. It can be an easy job, however, she wakes up every day and does it. Take me through a day in the life of Nelisa. What do you wake up, you do what, and how do you make sure that you go to bed accomplished what you've set for the day?
So, a day in the life, for me, first thing I do is to read the news,
Sure.
right? To know what's making headlines in current affairs and in business. I look at what's trending on social media because primarily the work that I do is making sure that the brands that I work with are visible. So that means I need to know what's being talked about so that I can know how to position them within the marketplace. So I look at the news, what's trending for the day. I spend a lot of time writing. I spend a lot of time conceptualizing and thinking about campaigns
Yeah.
for people. In between, I meet people because as a PR person, a majority of the work that I do relies on the networks that I have and the relationships that I build. So on a typical day, I might go to a networking event or for some of the brands that my clients want to associate with. So a lot of tech involved kind of thing. So you see me at a Samsung thing, see me at a Telcom thing, very much in the tech space. At least 3 times a week, I am on radio talking about what is trending in terms of tech trends, social media news, and what's happening in current affairs.
A lot of young people today are shying away from becoming employees. They're starting their own businesses, starting their own brands so that they are their own boss. How important is one when creating a brand, they make sure that they associate themselves with a public relations officer?
So I like the question because for a very long time, people did not prioritize their brand. They did not prioritize their reputation. So in the beginning, many people who are starting small businesses can't afford a PR person. However, what is important is understanding um, what is the essence of your brand.
Yeah.
So what is it that you want to put out there? What is the purpose of the brand and what is your vision? And how then do you use platforms such as media and social media to grow that brand, right? So you need a visual identity, so like your logo, and all of that, but you also need visibility in the marketplace. So how do the people who need to see you?
Yeah.
Then once you've started working and you're out there, or if you have the money, then you can bring in a PR expert on board.
You talk about social media a lot. Now, what happens if one is not tech savvy? How do they navigate the business space?
You can't afford not to be tech savvy. I mean, today we're at a conference that's talking about digital inclusion.
Yeah.
And part of the biggest challenge that we have is that people are trying to exist outside of that world. Unfortunately, in the world of business that we're in, if your business is not online, it does not exist.
Yeah.
So if I can't Google you, I'm not going to be able to find you. So it also means that you are missing a huge chunk of your potential market.
Yeah.
So being online should be, there's no young person or business person out there who's going to say, I'm not tech savvy. Because if you're not online, then people can't look you up.
Now, what are the do's and don'ts so that you make sure that brand yako is successful?
So start small. Start with what you have, start with where you are. So when I talk about social media and visibility and being out there, I mean you need to understand who are the primary people that need to see you. So
Yeah.
at different phases of your business, you need different skills and expertise in. So when you are starting, you are not going to open 5 social media platforms. You're not going to have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You're
Yeah.
not going to have all of them. You're going to look at what are my priorities at this particular point and how much capacity and resource do I have. So capacity is how many people work in my business. Resource means how much data can I afford, how much time can I afford to spend on social media. So
Yeah.
in the beginning, you may just start with just a Facebook page or a Google My Business page, a very simple page, so that you are able to service that as one of your platforms. So start small, start with where you are, and as you grow, your primary responsibility in the beginning is selling, right? So you sell first before you worry about everything else. Everything else comes after selling, because if you're not selling, you're not making money.
Yeah.
Then there's no brand to grow.
Your resume reads like a Bible. I cannot imagine a brand that doesn't want to be associated with you. Now, if one wants to work
Too
hand in
kind.
hand with you,
Sure.
how do they get in touch, and how should they prepare themselves for udibana nawe kwenzela uzovuma on the spot?
So, what I do with a lot of entrepreneurs, because a lot of them usually can't afford to hire a senior person, I host workshops where I bring entrepreneurs together, and I also find that a lot of entrepreneurs, appreciate being in a room with other entrepreneurs. So I do a lot of workshops with entrepreneurs. People can find us online.
Yeah.
We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, PR Trends ZA. Our email address is hello@prtrendza.com.
Do
Or they
that.
can just look up my name, Nelisa Ngolana. They'll find it.
And who knows, you might flourish.